What's up, gamers? Welcome to another episode of the Rant. Google releases a Olympic game within their browser of Olympic proportions to celebrate the, guess what, Olympics. Activision gets sued, but not for the reason that you think, and it's not a big surprise either. And finally, HeMan, Masters of the Universe, Revelations is finally out for your consumption on Netflix. So, let's get ready to jump right in. Google releases this awesome little RPG within their search engine, and it's crazy because it is awesome little pixel art. You get to play all these weird, cool little Olympic games. Like, it really could be a time suck, and it's amazing that they took the time and the effort to do this. But I gotta tell you, I love it. You need to go there, play it while you can, play it while it's available. It is a lot of fun. It is a good, quick time suck. It's very well done. It's incredible what we can do today. And I think, anybody that looks at this is immediately at the beginning going to ignore it, right? But hit that play button when you're in google.com and just watch it for a few minutes. I mean, they have some beautiful animations at the beginning. It's got that classic JRPG feel. It's got really cool little pixel art. It is a full-fledged game from what it looks like, and I started playing and I was starting to get lost in it for a bit, and I said, all right, I'm going to back away from this because this is just a little browser game. It's insane, but it is in celebration of the Olympics, and I thought it was really awesome. Now, the other awesome thing is, and I think only Japan would be able to pull this off, is they opened the Olympics with a whole playlist of video game themes and soundtracks, songs, and Final Fantasy was there, Dragon Quest, Nier, it's a whole big list. I put the list here for you. I'm going to show you in a little bit. I'll have it in the background, but it's insane. It's insane to see that video games have come so far, right? So next time your mom says nobody cares about video games, well, mom, in the Olympics, if you look, we opened with all these video game themes from all types of different video games. It wasn't just one theme. It wasn't like just Final Fantasy. It was a bunch of them. It's crazy, and it's amazing and fun, and I'm so happy that it's being done that way. But in other news, unfortunately, as we segue past all this positive stuff coming from the Olympics, now we need to move into something a little more serious, and that is the Activision lawsuit. So Activision is not being sued for some of the dubious releases that they've had that consumers have to wait before they're repaired. No, they are being sued for, you guessed it, that bro culture that has been talked about for a long time. And it was California regulators that came after them. And, they're bringing things to light that we already knew, right? We already know about the toxicity in a lot of video game corporations, but not just the toxicity in those environments, the culture that is counter to the productivity, inclusivity, equity of women, right? Like, this is what we discussed in our conversations episode a few weeks back, that, it needs to stop. And it's good to see that finally they're standing up to these giants, and Activision Blizzard is a huge giant. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of a lot of things they've put out over the years, but not at the expense or the cost of discrimination or inequity or anything along those lines. So it's good to hear and see that voices are finally getting out there and something's being done. So we're gonna have to follow this closely to see where the story goes, but it's kind of sad to know that even in this day and time, we're still dealing with this, right? And so all we can do is put a lens on it, and hopefully by shining a light, we can start moving away from this type of toxicity. It's one of those things that I think we all need to pay attention to and help and be allies and push things forward, right? So that being said, all we can do is watch and hope for the best, and hope that some new laws get passed that drive things forward in a positive direction. And I know that this is not positive in the sense that, hey, this is still happening, but it's positive in the sense that it looks like things are being done about it. And finally, finally, in great news, at least in my opinion, HeMan, Masters of the Universe Revelations is finally out on Netflix. I was able to peep the first few episodes, and I personally like it. It's helmed by Kevin Smith, and he's a huge comic book video game nerd like we all are, and so it was good to see him get out there and show us what he can do. Some interesting twists on the storyline. It really is kind of pushing it into the future. So if you're a classic nostalgic person, you may be turned off by some of the things that have been done there, but overall it's a pretty good feel. I do miss the classic, I have the power, done in the old way with the music and everything, but this new format, the new way they did it, it's okay. Doesn't give me the goosebumps it used to when I was a kid, but hey, right? Different strokes for different folks, so we have to see how everybody else feels. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking, if you think it's a good show or not. But I think so far it's doing a good job. And Mark Hamill as Skeletor, come on. I mean, that's just epic on its own. If you've been following Mark Hamill, he played the Joker in Batman the Animated Series and a few of the video games that were released, as well as some of the DC movies. So it was great to hear his voice. He's such an exceptional voice actor, and seeing him play Skeletor and hearing that voice and seeing what he did with the character was fantastic. So, well, that's really a wrap for today. Like I said, the Olympics are going on. Japan's doing an awesome job at letting us video game players know that we have a lot of representation, and I think it was just beautiful to see what they did with the music and the showcase that they put on for the opening of the Olympics. Again, play that Google game while it's there. Google does these awesome things, and then they're there for a little bit and they go away. This is definitely going to be one of those things that goes away. So enjoy it. I don't know when the next time you'll see something like that on Google again will be. But if you're into pixel art, JRPGs, that classic feel, and just something new and interesting, try it out. It's only going to be a few minutes or so for you to get into it, and you'll be able to have that experience, right? And then finally, again, when it comes to what's happening in California, let's try to, again, have our voices be heard. Let's be allies. Let's help push legislation forward for the progression of equality, right? And, just a safe place, a good environment to work in for women, right? Like, that bro culture is something that needs to disappear by now, and it doesn't help anybody. And so if you're for that type of nonsense and behavior, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's antiquated thinking. You need to be more progressive and just be a better person. And I don't know what's going on over there specifically. I don't want to take sides, but usually where there's smoke there is fire, and a lot of people have said that those environments are pretty toxic. And I've personally heard from folks, especially women, that have told me how they feel in some of these places, right? And we're not getting anywhere. So again, I'm that Game Dragon. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Rant. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, leave your comments below, and I will see you next time.